So those are 5 qualities that Abraham Lincoln had, and I would like for you to feel free now to ask questions of those 5 qualities, or if there are other things that you have about leadership that you'd like to ask, please feel free to. We have at least 15 minutes for Q&A. Thank you very much. Questions? Anybody want to disagree? Is there something you think you would notice about a leader other than the 5 things that we just talked about? Or that you would notice first? Maybe you don't think that one of those qualities is one of the most important. Do you have an idea?
Oh, no. We were talking about name brand power earlier.
Yes.
Name brand clothing. It was just a joke.
Okay, well, you know what? Speakers do come in with name brand power, and that goes all the way back to Aristotle. Aristotle wrote one of the greatest books of rhetoric and persuasion and leadership. It's called The Rhetoric, and he used the Greek word, obviously since he's Greek, ethos, that we keep to this day. Ethos is the person's reputation before they walk into a room. It's also a kind of persuasion, is it not? If you see a name brand, you are more inclined to accept and trust what that brand projects. Lincoln was a name brand. He was a guy whose principles were well known. He'd gone to great lengths to communicate those through his superior communication skills, and that's why he was nominated in 1860 to run for president, because people knew that he would be a name brand. That's actually a very good point. It goes back 2,400 years. Okay. Thank you. Yes, there was a hand up over here.
Just going to say, I think respect should be important, because it might go along with character, but
yes,
respecting the people you work with and then getting their respect in return.
Absolutely. I think let's talk a little bit. Let's unpack just a little bit. What is it to be a people person? When we talk about the importance, I say that's the first thing that you'll notice about a leader. They care about other people first. They're not just doing it for their own ego aggrandizement. I think when you walk into a room and you're saying, not first, here I am, but there you are, as we already illustrated, that's the respect. You walk into a room and you're assuming that you'll be given a modicum of respect as a speaker. I mean, you should be, accorded some respect, but I think the speaker also wants to make absolutely sure that he is earning the respect of his audience by respecting the audience and respecting that they're going to disagree with him. He's got to persuade them. He's got to agree when he comes in that they have different experiences. This is why we open it up for questions. Enlighten us. Enlighten me. I want to learn from you. Everybody in here has a different experience about leadership. When I go to audiences, I talk a lot about leadership. And when I go to audiences where I ask, tell me who are leaders in your life, it's always interesting for me to hear people say, oh, well, one of my parents, or this boss I had, or an uncle, or somebody very close. Could be like a priest or a minister. A number of people, and you have been absorbing the lessons of leadership, perhaps not formally, but informally, all your life. You know what works. And you know now, this goes right to your point, Michelle, about respect. You know that leadership is not about force. Leadership is about persuasion. It's getting people to come along because they want to, they have elected to, and they have to respect you. They have to respect the brand power. So that's a very good point. It's all about being this people person. Yes, sir.
We often connect leaders and followers in the same breath.
Yes.
Some people believe if you have followers, then you are a leader. Could you speak about leaders who may not have followers, but they are still effective leaders?
That's a very interesting point, because leadership has to be viewed over the long haul. We know that there have been people who die in prison or concentration camps who do not technically have the ability to look over the shoulders and see a bunch of people following, but through their writings continue to exert leadership. We can think of people from the Holocaust, for example. We can think of people in the Nazi concentration camps. We think of people who have been in jail. who over the long haul have exercised tremendous impact over us. I mean, look at somebody like Henry David Thoreau. Now, in American history, Thoreau became here's a guy who was willing to go to jail, but he did not seek headlines. He did not seek fame. He was willing to go to jail for his civil disobedience. Yet his writings would exert such a powerful influence over the Romantic movement in America, and by the 1960s, Thoreau had been long dead, became this cult hero all over again. Thoreau in his death became a leader, more than he was in his life. This happens again and again. Am I getting to the answer? The capacity. This is why, I love being an historian, because what is history? It's the extended human memory. It's our grappling with, all of the memories that we have had that have counted, that have been written down or told orally, and that have somehow been significant enough for us to remember. And the historian deals with this vast number of memories. And look at the memories that persist. Why is it that Queen Elizabeth I or Cleopatra, why is it that, a boy who leads a crusade, a guy who ends up, a 12-year-old who leads a crusade back in the 12th century, why is it we remember certain people in their death even more than in their life? Well, that's the capacity of us as meaning-making creatures dealing with the human memory over time. The extended memory of us all, our communal memory. So leaders, it's the link between the living and the dead, certainly. Lincoln is a leader for many of us today. He continues to inspire. You sort of plumb your idea and say, how does this compare to the way Lincoln would have handled this, or Washington? There are many other people. Martin Luther King we just celebrated. And many, many people continue to exert leadership even after they physically are no longer here. Yeah, great point. Other questions? Yes, sir.
How do you, the brand name, Hitler, he did all these bad things, against the Jews, against the Catholics and whatnot. But if you look at what he did for the German people, how do you get away, I guess, from that bad rap and focus on the good? You know what I mean? He built infrastructures, he united the people, he brought together so much. But yeah, he did it in a bad way. Does that make, I don't know if I